Welcome to Thrive in the Mess. I'm your host, Lisa Hutchcraft-Whitmer. We are thrilled to have you join us today. We are going to do a deep dive into a topic that a lot of people don't always talk about, and it is a very real thing in our world that all ages deal with. And I have two wonderful young people I know joining me today. And we are hoping this will be something where we don't just have to walk through surviving, but where people can feel like they can actually thrive. And we're talking about a messy topic today about the option of considering taking your own life, suicide, and how to choose to live instead. And I have Joseph, who is from, am I going to say it right? Guyana?
Yes, correct.
And the UK, and then my friend Kyle from South Africa. Can you tell us where in South Africa?
Johannesburg. So I am from Johannesburg, South Africa. Oh yeah.
And there's several places
yeah.
in South Africa. There's like Pretoria and like Cape Town.
Everybody
the
knows
Johannesburg.
either Johannesburg or Cape Town, but we just basically call it Joburg, the local
Joburg.
Joburg. Or if you're like really, really local, we'll say Josie.
Really? I haven't heard that. Wow, I love that. Well, I am really thankful for both of you because I'm thankful you are alive. You each made an intentional choice to be alive and not take your own life. And I really appreciate you talking about this. Joseph, I know on your social media, you talk quite a bit and you wear clothes, not today, but you wear clothes where about like reasons to be alive, like on the back of your sweatshirt and different. Wait, but your hat shows your.
I got the hat. It says "Stay here."
Stay here. Oh, love that. So you are really an advocate for this because you walked through this, and you also do like spoken words and things like that, and talk with people about choosing life. So we're just going to jump in to just kind of, we all have messy stories. Life isn't perfect. Who wants to kind of jump in and give some of what led you to a point of, okay, life isn't worth living anymore?
I guess also it's kind of a short form of my story. When I was 16, I was doing like in England, we call it GCSEs exams, and I just was watching the wrong stuff, a lot of negative stuff on YouTube at the time. And what happened was I watched over a period of a few months, and the next thing I knew I was getting thoughts, and I didn't know what kind of thoughts they actually were until they got heavier and a lot darker. Because prior to that, I was just navigating school, and as a lot of young people do with anxiety and stuff like that. But then there is a moment where, because I was watching so much of that, plus the pressure of anxiety of exams, plus like worried from all these different struggles, it turns out I was actually battling suicidal ideations, and it was places, not necessarily words at a time, just places, sadly, where people have high a percentage of, taking their own life. And so that
We're
was
talking about places.
Yeah.
When you're talking about suicidal ideation, places where you're like, I might choose to take my life there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I'm not gonna list them, but
Right.
there's all sorts of stats about certain countries and stuff like that because of culture. So it really started when I was 16, and then throughout my later teens, it was mainly my toss with anxiety during getting more exams and then uni or college, and it led to a point where I was not harming myself physically, but I would say I was harming myself emotionally with constant like negativity and talk and all that stuff.
Where was all that coming from? You mentioned music.
Yeah.
So was there kind of like dark music, or I'm imagining this isn't like happy music?
Yeah. I mean, it would be highly interesting if it was happy music.
Right.
A lot of it was from, again, just, it was like me doing my research. Like occasionally everybody has the Google search, a random thought or a place or something.
Right.
And I did top 10 places, like interesting places to travel. And it lists some of these places. So I would read more about it. I would research because I was interested. and then it was a combination of YouTube videos, and then if you add music behind YouTube videos, so a lot of the music was heavy and dark.
So this is a choice.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah.
kind of talk also about some of the choices that can actually not lead to this. Like these are choices leading to beginning the thoughts of like wanting to choose to take your life. So the music, even YouTube videos, and then external pressure too. You're talking about like exams and anxiety and just juggling life. So
Yeah, it's also with my generation, we're surrounded by a lot of technology, so it can be very overly stimulating with just information.
right.
And oftentimes, because I mean, a majority of my generation love music, so it's just ingrained in us. Like, if you go out in London, England, you'll see most people on the trains with headphones on. So they're not really speaking, but they're a lot of time and they're trying to disconnect from life, or even for a few minutes, going to or from work. But music was a big part of it. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Well, and I want to hold that thought because I want to know you're still here and alive, very much so, and encouraging other people. So we're going to jump back to that. Kyle, can you just kind of walk us through some of your journey with this?
Oh, goodness. I mean, hearing a little bit from Joseph has kind of also got me a bit of an emotional state. I'm typically someone who has my emotions quite numbed out just because of, I mean, I call it a bit of a trauma response. It's like you can only be sad and cry so many times. And so it's just like, okay, well, you just kind of stop. It just gets to the point where like, okay, there's just like nothing left anymore. But yeah, so I grew up in not the best circumstances. Family life was quite hard. I'd say it was okay when I was much younger. My family, all like me, my cousins, aunt and uncles, we all lived in like one household that sort of my grandparents ran. And then things just got worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where, I mean, the family split up, the conflict was really bad. My mother and I still lived with my grandparents as well as my uncle. My uncle was a bit of a drug addict. So it was literally, and oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this on a podcast, but I'm going to be real.
You know what? It's authentic and real because
It's
people
real
don't
stuff.
talk about this. And
Real stuff,
I hope that your stories bring hope to someone else who literally might be wondering, can I make it through one more day?
Yeah.
Or maybe you know someone who might not make it through one more day.
Yeah.
So thank you for going there. Yes.
It was a case of like, I mean, there was just so much. Okay, so I mean, even as a kid, I was just not fitting in at school. I mean, I grew up in a household full of like strong women, being like, you know, my grandmother, my mother. I would say the men in the family are a little bit passive. And for that reason, I mean, I picked up my mannerisms from them. I mean, they used to always tell me I'm a bit of a drama queen, which, yeah, was kind of true looking back. And I mean, some of the things that, you know, she would correct me on was absolutely true. Like I used to talk with my hands, and she'd say, like, don't talk with your hands. It's not like, you know, manly. It's a bit feminine. And that's so true.
I talk with my hands, but I grew up in New Jersey. I like gesture with things that I claim to someone who talk with my hands.
Oh, yeah. But it was the case, I mean, so what that translated into school is people would just call you so many names. You would stab me, pack. It was really hard for me to make friends. So in primary school is pretty much first through seventh grade. I literally struggled to make friends so many times. It was a case of like, there was a bunch of guys that I had friends, and if you're one of those friends, I apologize, I'm just gonna be real. It was a case of like, I used to carry money every day, which was not very regular for a lot of other people. They would get like a lunch box and juice box, you name it, but I carried money. So I would buy from the tuck shop, which is, you know, where we get our snacks and food and everything. But it was a case of if I didn't buy like food and snacks for the guys I was hanging out with that day, they would totally leave me. They would just like leave me stranded.
Conditional.
So like,
Right.
yeah, I had like these spots around the school that I would like chill, or like these people that kind of would be like my backup. But even then, it's like I didn't really feel like I fit in.
Did you panic if you didn't have money? Because like that was a part of these relationships in a way.
It was just it was more of like, you know, looking back, and I wasn't really conscious of it or even able. I didn't have the courage or the boldness to stand out. It was like I was being bullied consistently. So
And
my
you're surviving.
friendships- Oh yeah.
Right. Trying
Pretty
to
much.
just make it through. And sometimes we think
Yeah.
it's normal what we're
Exactly.
surviving.
Exactly. I mean, people would even like threaten you and be like, you know, sharing is caring, and if you don't share, you don't care. I'm like, come on.
You're like,
Come
orange,
on.
are you sharing?
Exactly. What do you have to offer? But
Speaking of, there are goodies here. When we talk about hard things, there's chocolates.
Tempts me right now, but it's
let's do it. But yeah, so I used to get called a lot of names, didn't really fit in. It was really hard. But then, okay, there's that happening at school, which is sort of supposed to be your escape. Then you come back home, there is fighting, screaming, physical and verbal abuse consistently. It was a case of like if you would get something nice, like I don't know, I'm going to use a random example. Let's say my mother would get me like an Xbox for Christmas, and I know she would make a lot of sacrifices to get to that point.
Wow,
Like,
right.
hey, you know, I'm buying you an Xbox for Christmas or whatever, that kind of thing. It wasn't very long after that would end up at the pawn shop. And then, you know, we constant like
With no choice of your own.
Yeah,
It would
no,
just have to
yeah.
be, oh,
Yeah, so all
wow.
the nice things would disappear not too long after, just because there's a
Wow.
lack of finances, there's a lot
That's
going
awful.
on. I think in general is I struggled to find some sort of role model when I was younger quite a bit. So I was invited to youth group when I had, I think, 8th or 9th grade in high school. And you know, it's like, regardless of where I was, if I saw someone that was even remotely like invested into me or was willing to listen to me, I would look up to them as a role model. To some degree, I kind of looked to my uncle like as that as for a while, because I didn't really grow up with a father.
But he
But
was the
I-
male in the house, but doing drugs
This is
at the
it.
same time. Right, right.
Yeah.
And that's
so-
only natural. You're looking and seeking for that person. Right, right.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, it was literally a case of like, I mean, I had these songs as well. That's why I was like, getting emotional thing about the songs. There was a song, and I mean, some of these songs would like play on TV, and I would like connect with the message. It was a song called "A Little Too Much," by Shawn Mendes. I heard it once, and like I had it on repeat. It was like my life's anthem. But the lyrics literally go, how's it go? Yeah, I can only when I sing it, I get it. Okay, it goes. Sometimes it all gets a little too much. But you gotta realize that soon the sun will come up. I mean, you don't have to be afraid. Because we're all the same. Sometimes it all gets a little too much. And that song was like
We just become a musical podcast. I love
Oh
it.
yeah.
Thank you for saying.
So that's so.
Poor Joseph
I
is
mean,
gonna pee.
I'm like, what songs can I got in my head?
Oh god. I already forgot that.
Word. He
yeah.
does the spoken word. You're doing the singing.
Oh yeah. I love singing.
So how did that song hit you then?
It was
Was it encouraging or hard?
it was more of like just relating and feeling like I wasn't alone. I think I struggled with so much overthinking as well because I wasn't really fitting in anywhere. My mind would constantly run amok of like, oh, you could have done better with that conversation. You could have responded better. You could have been more manly with those guys. You could have, I don't know, it was just a case of like, no matter what the conversation was, I just kind of felt like I was separated from it. And I was a little bit shy and introverted, and I've definitely come out of my bubble since then.
I was gonna say I don't well, but I
It
was
was-
using
I would
but I
literally-
do understand that.
At like
Wow.
family gatherings, we used to call it functions because there's all these like family gatherings that happen all the time.
We're gonna confer just for a minute about the We're not talking about behind your back,
No.
we're talking right in front.
Totally.
I love that though, because now the person I know, the Kyle I know,
Yeah.
gets up on stage and like brings hope to people. And, you know, you bring a lot of encouragement to people and help people see that they are seen and heard. And it stems from your own story of you did not feel seen and heard.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was really, I would go to my granny sometimes, like after like these big fights or whatever, and I don't know. Even in high school, my mother and I used to have what I call these screaming matches where we just like scream and shout at each other consistently. Like it was really bad. But you know, I would like my granny was probably the safest space I had.
I wondered, was she like a safe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure, she was a part of the conflict. I'm gonna be real. I never say this on a podcast. I apologize in advance. So my granny struggles with bipolar disorder, so she's also just as moody as the rest of us. So yeah, there's that.
Well, mental health ties into so many things you
Very
know, with all
much
this. So
Yeah, I think my mother had a bit of a depression. It was a case of when we were in high school. I'm sorry, I'm getting into the real details right now. And I think it was either my 11th grade year or my matric year. And this was just one of the many different times where people in my household would constantly take pills and try to commit suicide. And I'm stuck trying to pick up the pieces, call the ambulance, get them washed out of like everything that's
that's
on.
hard. So you're seeing that
a lot.
too.
Yeah. It was literally, they've attempted multiple times to try to take their lives. And I mean, I wanted to do it myself. I remember there was one time I wasn't fitting with my cousins either. And it was literally, I had a knife before and I'm like, you know, I just wanted it to be over. Just wanted it to be over. And I howled it there for a while. And I just knew like there was something in me telling me like, don't do it. There's so much better. And I'm living on the other side of that now. But yeah.
And
Praise.
we're thankful you're living on that side of it now.
Exactly.
Yes.
But yeah.
Wow. Well, and it's interesting because every story is different. You had one way of like music and videos and stress. You had stress, but also seeing some people in your world who you cared about choosing that potentially and having to deal with that and the aftermath of some of that. Well, Joseph, you're still alive. So, like, while he's doing that, if you want to eat something, this is not stress eating. This is, if you were in my home, I would serve you something. So,
That's hospitality. Just I thought to.
so you chose a different choice. You did not, thankfully, go down that road. What? How did you make a different choice to be alive?
I remember this specifically. It'll be 10 years since I first told my mom I was first suicidal.
Really?
I even put it on my calendar. 10
That's a big
anniversary.
anniversary. Wow.
It was in like my old church, and I was coming from my youth group after church, and we were just hanging out. It's like a small church, and this is during all the YouTube stuff, studying for exams, and at a time, tying into stuff, I was in and out of battling pornography as well. So all that contributed to like shame and guilt and
Right.
even more stress. And then there was a time in the youth group, like straight after the service ended. Looking back now, I know it was the Holy Spirit, but for me, it was just a thought like, you have to tell her. Now's the time to tell her. And I remember being so anxious, walking out into the car park or the car lot. I'm really cautious of different things.
Because each of you say things a little differently. And
Oh,
the matric, I think the matric is
Oh,
in Europe,
matric,
but so
yeah.
like that would be senior year. And
Yes.
then like,
Yeah,
the car part. So you
And-
guys are, this is international.
yeah,
These are
yeah.
worldwide, global.
Like, we can understand, okay,
I didn't
know
even
what
pick
you
up.
mean. I know what
Right,
you mean.
yeah.
but
I didn't even pick up the
terminology.
language
Yeah.
difference, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was walking to the,
I was
Yeah.
boring English. So anyway.
I mean, it's different types of English, but you know. I was walking out, and I think my younger brother was just running out of the car as younger as happens to you, and they run all over the place. And I was like shaking and everything. And my mom was or is in her choir, so she was having her choir practice at the time. And then I was like, Mom, can I talk to you about something? And it's like my voice is shaking as I'm saying this. And I said to her, I've been having thoughts. And she's like, oh, what kind of thoughts? And I like half stuttered because I have a history of stammering and stuttering. And I stammered, and
Hey,
it said,
good people did in the
Yeah,
Bible.
yeah,
Moses
yeah.
did. So,
for example, like, it took me stuttering saying suicide to her, and she literally screamed, "What?" Not in like a diminishing tone to me, but like I had no clue
Oh, right.
this is going on. And she said, "I will talk about it when we get home." A long story short is like, from that one phrase, I've been having these thoughts. And to be honest, even in a stammering, hesitant, stuttering way, I still said it. And that was like a release of just like, I can breathe a bit. A little bit
Oh,
more.
wow.
Then, from then on, it wasn't like an instant healing per se. It was more like the weight was lighter. So the week after I told her that, I got baptized.
Oh,
And because I was thinking about baptism as well and everything. But for me, the real sort of the heaviness was lifted more when I just spoke. And a lot of us nowadays and back then, I was like, I can't speak to no one about these things because of shame, guilt,
right.
um,
That's part of why we're having
Yeah.
this conversation.
Yeah.
When you drag things out
yeah,
into, the light,
yeah,
you can deal with them when they're like in the hidden in the closets and the dark spaces, like, of our mind. And I love that you said that because that was an intentional, I love looking for intentional
Yeah.
choices of
yeah.
how to shift and to even say it. That's powerful. And
Yeah.
just, you felt
Yeah.
like you could breathe.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, there are two things in the world. There's like we live in a world where there's supernatural too, and there's a dark part to that and a good part. The theme of every movie is like the good and the bad, and it is the real thing. So like the fact that there is this darkness, and we just feel like I can't say that. I can't say I'm struggling with pornography, or that I want to choose to not live anymore, or to whatever, fill in the blank. That's really powerful that you spoke it. And I love that now you do spoken word, because it gives life. And I hope that, I know you've given life into like just that. I do want to touch on, okay, you said you got baptized, so it sounds like God had something to do with this somewhere in here. So tell us a little bit about that. Like,
like what was crazy about all of this, well, up until then, was months prior, my old pastor's wife spoke to my mom about a dream she had about me going through something like this. However, she told my mom not to tell me. I had to go through this.
wow.
And when she told me that, I was just like overwhelmed. I was like, why can't she just have told me this? That I'd go through all this stress and everything. But no, she told her, like,
But sometimes we
has-
don't listen. Nate, would you have listened?
that's the thing.
You never know. Yeah.
Yeah, and when she told my mom that, I was like, wow, I see why. Now looking back, almost 10 years later, I'm like, I'm glad it happened, because it would have either happened then or happened now or whenever. And since then, like, I think a lot of time in terms of like faith and mental health and stuff, it's very touchy a subject for many Christians, and even though
Why do you think so?
because it's especially in like actually not even too long ago, like it's highly stigmatized. It's like, oh, you have like a demon or something like that, something highly spiritual, or you have something in you, when for a majority of people it's just a result of the brokenness of this world. So plus other factors like upbringing and stuff like that, and culture,
And we're
school.
all born into a broken world. Right.
And so you can, like, when I walk around now and I see my friends or my colleagues at work as well, and I'm like, there's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of people like stressed about this, anxious about this, and I'm like, God, what can I do? But like back then, it was like during that summer period after I got baptized, I was like, I'm on fire. Oh Jesus, I'm going to youth camp, doing this, doing that, and then we do A levels in the UK, which is like a 16 to 18, before going off into college or university.
Okay. Right.
And I was doing that summer. I was on fire for God. I'm happy. I'm energetic. And then more exams come around, and this time is more of an anxiety mixed in with a suicidal ideation of like, I want to get a good grades. I want to do this.
There's always some extra stress. There
Yeah.
always is. Like, right.
And so that was like a cycle for a couple of years. And then to almost piggyback on a similar example that Kyle shared about, like it's, as a trigger warning is quite graphic, but not too graphic. For me, the closest I got to physically doing anything to like harm myself physically was in, sadly, the London Underground is one of the highest places that people do attempt. And I
The underground being the subway in the UK, the train. Yes.
Yeah. And sadly, I was almost one of them many times. There was a thought where I'll stand close-ish, but it would be like leaning unintentionally, like or subconsciously, I'll be like moving forward. And this is after getting baptized and surrendering over to Christ. Like, and there was that still wrestle to be like, you don't need this. This doesn't need to be the end of you. And it was 2019, and what was crazy is that I was preparing for a speaking event at the Outer Life event, actually, in London, and I was asked to do spoken word. And looking back, it was the enemy. It was all these obstacles trying to stop me from speaking. It was the month prior that every time I would walk into my kitchen, the thoughts of a certain object would be there, and it'd be like, oh, it was lies in my ear saying, oh, what would happen if you did this? And just a little scratch, a little scrape. And I remember at the time speaking to one of my
Little self-harm.
yeah, which physically I've never done. So that was a whole like scary thing for me. Years prior, it was thoughts, it was videos and music. Now it's the physical part of it. I remember I wrote like sort of a very explicit journal entry on my phone about this wrestle. Journaling has been like one of the main things to like vent and be like, what's going on here, God? Oh yeah. And I remember
Builds it out of that. I like that. That's another
yeah.
intentional choice to
Yeah.
help us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you might encourage people to like to journal.
Oh.
It gets it out, you know.
Even if
Like-
you're not a writer,
It like gets to that point where your mind is running so much of a muck that you can't keep
Yeah,
it to yourself,
yeah.
but you almost like don't
Yeah.
know what to do about yourself. Like it's
Right.
like it's like sitting there, you're like, I don't know what to do. It's either A, these objects and stuff like different methods are speaking to me, or B, I try to like channel it and get it out some other way.
yeah.
So like typing it out or I don't know, like speaking it, for example, there's a certain level of like freedom that comes from that.
Yeah.
That
Right.
we're like holding on to because well, it's our only like sort of what do we call it? I don't know, just
A release or something.
yeah, pretty much.
Right,
just the
right.
release.
Yeah.
Well, and I like
Yeah.
that because instead, I know for me, like sometimes it's like round and round and round in my head with thoughts, and it's just like sometimes it does help just to get it on paper. You know,
Yeah.
for me, it like helps to handwrite it even. Like sometimes I might type something, but like for that, I feel like it's a more
Yeah.
personal way. I don't know about you guys, but I love how you said just
Yeah.
get it out. Because if we don't get it out, then it also starts building up like
Oh, yeah.
physically, you know,
yeah.
because even it
You can-
affects us.
Like the amount of times I'm like a big like sort of advocate for like stretching and making sure your posture is good and everything like that. 'Cause
So we
I
need
hear
to
about-
sit up straighter.
No, listen, I mean,
I feel like I'm slouching.
those are that wasn't intentional, but like but like
He's been wanting to correct my posture this whole time.
but like I would often hear as a kid my auntie,
Yeah.
who I call my second mom, she knows who she is. She is she will often tell her sons and my cousins, sort out your posture, and they're like
Right.
6'5" and very tall people.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to hold on to this, but it's like
It does come with a degree of
yeah.
okay, you value yourself. I
Yeah,
get that. That's
yeah.
really good.
And it's crazy how psychologically and physically how it makes it when you're stressed, you're tensing, your body's just naturally just like on edge and
And that's
tense.
kind of as
yeah.
like shriveling up. Even watching you do that, it
Yeah.
makes me think of it's almost like shriveling. It's not
Yeah, so you have,
valuing.
you
Wait,
have
wait.
the when it comes to like a suicide ideation for many people, it's not always the same sort of linear experience. It's like a mix of like thoughts, shame and guilt in your heart, plus the physical reality. So everything is just bombarded with either at once or like over time. And when you think, oh, great, I know more thoughts, and you're like, here's the guilt, here's the shame.
Right, right.
Here we go again, and you
Right.
repeat it. And so prior to that event, I remember sending that little journal entry to my youth leader at the time, because I was a youth leader at the time, so I'm the leader of all youth leaders.
Okay.
And she offered to speak to me as I was heading to the train station to head to a youth meeting. So I was doing all this. I was leading youth, but I was still wrestling with my own mental health at the same time. So yes, I wanted to help people, but I'm like, I had to battle these real thoughts. They're not imaginary things.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that people are going through internally are real. They might not be always tangible, but they're real.
Right.
And yeah, so ever since I got baptized back in 2015, it's been like a cycle of like good moments or high, like, oh yes, I'm good, I'm at peace here. or even when I'm at peace, a circumstance or something, or family stuff, like,
That external
whatever,
stress.
yeah,
Right.
would just shake you a little bit. But I praise God that over the last 2 years plus or so, I've not had ideations, or if they've come, they've been brief, because it's been like I literally shake my head and say no. Like if I'm out on the street, I'm like no.
Wow. I want to jump back to some other like intentional reasons why, like you've talked about, relationship with God, and I kind of want to circle back to also like before you were listening to certain music, certain YouTube things, and what would you encourage people to maybe listen to instead? But I want to jump to you. You're still alive.
Oh, yeah.
So like, what's your story? Why are you here? So like, and you jumped in on the journaling thing, but
Yeah.
how did you chose to still be here?
Yeah, honestly, like even circling back, like sure, journaling was one of those ways, but because it's for me, there wasn't really much of a safe space or somewhere you could retreat to. I didn't really have anyone I could really talk to.
Right.
Just because, I mean, sure, I was broken and there was definitely something wrong with me and my mental health, but at the same time, so was every single person in my household. So there was not really anyone you could talk to because as well, it kind of felt like I was, well, everybody's already hurting. I'm just now, adding my drama into the mix and making it worse. It's like, you kind of felt like anything to do with you almost felt guilt about it. And it's not something I struggle today with. It's like any like sort of attention that's drawn towards me or whatever it might be, it's like I'm so uncomfortable by that just because it's like, well, I'm broken too. I don't know.
Right,
So are
right.
you, and that's okay. I don't know.
And sometimes, like I mentioned, like broken,
Yeah.
we don't know it's any different. Like we're
Yeah.
born into a broken world because of that one word that I know you guys are aware of too, that God talks about, sin, S-I-N, and that middle letter I is we're living for ourselves, we're choosing my way. And so it's
almost
either
like-
we choose our way or God's way.
It's almost like we feel like we're never good enough.
Yeah.
Like we literally feel like we're never good enough no matter what we do, which is why the overthinking is like, oh, I could have did this. Oh, there's this, there's that. I was like, what am I going to do? Like I had two alternatives. Either you journal about it or you run away. And I had so many opportunities where like I took a bag, walked like literally down to the store down the road. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. Let's go. We're going to get out of here. And then like on the way at the same time, like contemplating, I'm like, this is too hot. Like, no, like how am I going to get food? How am I going to find something to drink? Where am I going to sleep?
It's interesting because even in the running away, you had hoped that like there was another way.
Yeah, pretty much. And I would always end up looping back, but it was almost, looping back. But it was almost like I was stuck in these chains in this box and I just couldn't get out. And I was screaming and crying and asking for help consistently, but nobody was answering me.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that if anyone is watching, if they feel like they're in that place, that they know that they're seen and heard. And you at a certain point knew God sees you.
Yeah.
And we're not alone. Like,
Yeah.
tell us
Honestly,
a little bit about that. Like, where did that come into the mix
I
with all this?
don't know when it happened, but I came across, and this is, I mean, it's probably one of the most popular songs ever, especially at the time. It's a song.
Power music.
This is it.
Their music is powerful,
good
for better and for worse. Yes.
And it'll click once I say the name of the song, but it was Oceans by Hillsong. And there's that bridge of like, Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders.
Right.
Every time that bridge would come and I'm like, there's something, I'm like, okay, there must be more. There's got to be a hope. It's like, okay, this song is clearly talking to a God that might have better plans.
Wow.
And every time there was like, those things happening in the household and people screaming at each other and fighting and just a lot going on, is I would literally like find a way to like at least get that song on, because that would be my like space of retreat of like, okay, the song is giving me something inside. There's something bubbling up. There's a hope inside that I can't now turn back from once I've heard it, that there might be something more out there. So yeah, I pressed into that for a while. Oceans was like the number one thing for me. And then I started to explore more Christian songs. It was, what's it? Beneath the Waters, or some, I think it's called Beneath the Waters, I Will Rise. Also one of the Hillsong oldies. Like the bridge really goes, I will rise, I will rise. For Christ was raised to life. The song would go and I was like, again, something's bubbling up inside. I'm like, okay, something's drawing me in. And
God has a way of doing that.
yes,
When we feel the most hopeless.
Yes.
And I know I've heard you all talk about that, of just that tug in our heart. And God's the one who can fill that
Yeah.
that space. Wow. So you chose life. You chose life. I love that you were talking about just even music choices. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because music is powerful. Like
Yeah.
music can take us to a place. I know I was watching something and there was a girl who like broke up with her boyfriend, and her brother comes in and asked her something of, so what are you doing? And he was going to invite her to go do something. And she's like, well, I was going to write out the lyrics to this certain song, which are really depressing, you know? And
Well, extra effort to write.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like, but that keeps us in a loop of, you know, okay, I'm staying in the same place. But
Yeah.
you guys, like, what kind of music do you listen to now? And you talked about music too. So that's a big thing for people. And what are you listening to and watching too?
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I mean, it is always with like youth or young adults, there's always some sort of trendy song going around or something. And a few years ago, it was Brandon Lake's Gratitude. That was like really blowing up on social media at the time. And for me, it's the song A Million Little Miracles by Maverick City Music
And
and
innovation.
Vision Worship.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you, again, YouTube videos, so again, a good and bad, the video is like just a very intimate, a circle, a worship. It's not like hype or anything. It's just you and God sing it. And there's a part after it continues. And the lyrics have got, I got miracles on miracles, a million little miracles. And it goes,
1, 2,
count your miracles. 1, 2, 3, 4.
or I can't even count them all.
Wow.
And then there's a part after that happens, and he says, I got breath in my lungs.
I think I am so thankful both of you have breath in your lungs. You know,
Oh, yeah.
well, I know, but I know each of you got to a point of, I don't want breath in my lungs.
Yeah.
That's a very real thing. And so I love hearing that, you know. And sometimes one of the things it seems like is to choose to stop and breathe.
Yeah.
Even in the I do that, and just in the when life gets a little crazy, it's like we can. I think even our breathing tightens up. You were talking about being tense, but even when you talk to your mom, you know, you heard a song. Like for me, it's just breathing. I do want to touch on the thought. I've mentioned this other times of. I know after my mom passed away, there are certain grief is very important to walk through and to walk through well and intentionally, but to lean in. Someone had mentioned at some point, you lean in, but you don't want to stay there, and I thought it was really good. But one thing that I couldn't help but think of sometimes is the thought of, and the Bible even talks about take captive every thought. And you've talked about thoughts. You had thoughts. I have thought. You know, whatever the thoughts are about, whether it's not choosing to continue living or whatever it is. I love looking at verbs in God's word, and that captive is like take captive. I feel like it's like tackle,
Take down.
and sometimes I have to do that. Like recently, there was a time I was in the car and my head just went a certain place, and I'm like, Lisa, like my mom's been gone several years now, and I was like, that's not a healthy place to go because that's gonna, you know, derail you, and you're thinking. And so I literally was like, nope, and I literally had to choose to stop it, and then bring my mind back. And I actually did turn an upbeat, you know, Christian song that really helped at that moment too. But it is that take captive, and then the next word, every thought. Like I'm sure you felt like that with your thoughts, and you felt that you know, from what you're saying of, because we do have thoughts, but they have to define us. But a thought is a real thing, but what do we do with it? So I really appreciate that. wisdom of take captive every thought.
Yeah.
And sometimes get them on paper. And you know what? I know someone mentioned one time to me of them burn it, literally, but safely. I'm not
You don't need no smoke alarms going off in their place, please.
Yeah.
But seriously, literally, and then just getting rid of it and leaving it. That that can be helpful. But any other thoughts, you guys? There have been some intentional choices of choosing a relationship with God because He does see us.
Yeah.
One of the things I love this of in Psalm. I love Psalms. It says, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning."
Yeah.
And I think of that's what God offers. That
Yeah.
sometimes there is that weeping, that sorrow, that grief, but He offers us joy
Yeah.
and life and
Yeah.
hope, and that's something I hope offers hope today to anyone listening of giving God a chance, reaching out to Him and choosing to have a relationship with Him. He sees you. He knows you. I love that where the Bible talks about there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Like, but I'm close with my brothers.
Even closer than that.
Friend, I know. It's just real. I love that. But what are some other things? We've talked about God. We've talked about intentional, about what we're listening to and what we're watching. Because sometimes also on social media, like you look at one thing, like I'll look at one thing and all of a sudden I have like a bunch of the next 10 videos are all like along that. And I'm like, why did I look at that?
All the
one
reels
little
and you start
thing?
scrolling like this the whole day, just reels.
So, and it's kind of like that if we're looking at something that's going to help our mental well-being or something that's not, we're going to like pull more of that out. So, but any other thoughts on just an intentional choice that has helped you?
I mean, a lot of people aren't a fan of tattoos, but I've got a bunch on me.
Show us the one you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I got
gotta
quite
get
I got quite a bit.
What do they say?
They're quite a bit here. So the one that impacted me, well, I saw the phrase again on social media over years, and it says, "Your story is not over yet." This a semicolon tattoo, and that's like
I've heard of that. Can you explain that semicolon real quick?
So it was created by actually a teenager, I think, over a decade ago, I think. And this person wanted to have like a physical reminder, like I can keep going. It's worth it. And a semicolon is like if writing a sentence, it joins two sentences together. So it continues your thought or it continues your action. So it's like
Continues your life.
it continues your life.
Wow.
And so it's like this. So I got a tattoo on top, which is the birthday of my mom and myself, which a fun fact, we have the same birthday.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and the way I look at it is I would hold up my hand here. And this has been our life starting, and this is pause, and it's going to continue. So God has been so gracious to, again, I could have been born in any era, any time period, but He allowed us to be born for such a time as this, in these eras. But your story is not over yet, and this one is still here.
Is that what that says? Your story's not over yet?
Yeah, this.
So your story's not over
Over
yet. Oh, and
Still
here
here.
at the semicolon. I don't know if you
And these ones are taken years apart, so it's like a reminder you have to intentionally make, like keep going. And for on my 25th birthday, literally on the day I got this one, resilient.
I don't know if you want to lean this way. I don't know what can be seen on the camera.
It says resilient. For those who can see it.
Right,
It says
right.
resilient, and it in the description online it says to be able to withstand hardship or to withstand just tough.
It was too much to get the whole
Yeah,
definition.
yeah. So just I mean, in practice, so, but like it's not. I'm not resilient because of myself. I'm resilient only because God's given me the strength to be resilient in those heavy moments. So these are tattoos, whether you're a fan or not, for me, they're a constant reminder that whenever I'm getting dressed, whenever I'm out and about, I can just roll up my sleeve and look at it and close my eyes and be like, it's going to be
Wow.
right. It's going to be
Wow.
right.
And that's been big
Yeah.
for you. I know for me, I have like, I'm a big believer. A lot of times I'll encourage people to like write verses like on a 4x6
Yeah.
card or something. And so I have like half of my bathroom
Yeah,
mirror.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I can see to brush my teeth,
Yeah.
Yeah.
get ready in the morning. But I like, while I'm doing that, my eyes can like drift to
Yeah.
different words of hope. And so that's
Yeah.
another thing I encourage
That's just
people
it.
about. But put them anywhere, like your car, your
Yeah.
bathroom mirror,
Yeah.
where you're getting ready,
That's
Yeah.
funny. So you spoke about like, when you're looking at the words, how it kind of reminds you and brings, a certain sort of emotional narrative across. And I think we've touched a little bit on music and before, it's like, you don't realize that whether it's music, whether it's poetry, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's Netflix, everybody loves Netflix, Disney Plus, you name it, is they're all feeding us something consistently. And if your music is dark and you don't even realize it, and you're feeling depressed and you have these thoughts running through your mind, there's a source somewhere that's feeding you that narrative. And it's like for me, so you asked about the music, is for me, most of my playlist, about a good 90% of my playlist is for the most part Christian music. Not necessarily, because yes, I'm a Christian and yes, I'm a Jesus follower, but more so because the lyrics are life-giving.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's like really what is speaking to me consistently. Like the second I'm depressed, I'm gonna put a song. The second I'm starting to feel like really chaotic and like really like just frustrated and there's just so much going on, is I'm gonna put on a song and it's gonna allow me to just calm down. And we have this phrase called husa at home. It's just something I got from work. It's really a case of like, it's like a husa. It's like a calm down, just breathe, and then
Oh, just breathe.
kind of step
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
So something that was also really, really freeing for me is we used to have our boss say a lot, and you spoke about how, the Bible says to take your thoughts captive and basically, submit it to God. It's literally, so our boss used to say in the workplaces, control the controllables. And for me, that basically translated in, well, and everybody says this, it's so cliche, but it's just like, you can't control what people think of you. You can't control the type of conflict that comes out. You can't control how people act. You can't control all these different things are outside of you, but you can choose to be happy.
Yeah.
You can choose, you are not your thoughts. Like it's the Bible says to, take your thoughts captive. The Bible is really saying you are not your thoughts. You can watch them come in and say, well, I'm not that. Yes, my mind might be telling me I'm good enough, but according to the Bible, we are God's children. We are literally, the Bible says that, I'm going to name a few verses. Obviously, everybody knows the cliche ones. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for a hope in the future, right? There's that. There's
And in a dark moment where we
Yeah.
might be thinking of taking our life,
Yeah.
it's we don't feel like there's a plan.
Yeah.
We feel alone, isolated,
Trapped.
hearing the voice,
This is it.
trapped in the box, right? Yeah. Jailed
Yeah.
in the box. Yeah.
So retreating to God literally gives me like a sense of identity. It gives me a sense of peace and security. It gives me a sense of
Safe
like,
space. that
there we
you
go.
have.
This is it. But it's an unlimited one. So that's the greatest, because like you can go to that secret space at any time of the day, whether it's 5 minutes on the train, whether it's driving to work. There's always going to be the gaps that you're able to just reset and readjust your eyes back on Jesus, because ultimately he's the only one that satisfies the void
Right.
that we have inside of us that's leading us to that space in general.
Did you have another verse too? That I know you mentioned that
did.
one. If not, that's okay. Because I jumped in. I was
Which one do I choose?
Which one was it? I don't remember. And I mean, sure, I brought up the cliche ones. There was one, but I completely forgot.
Oh, you know what? One thing I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you though too, while talking with you, like, how do you avoid certain things too? Because like the thoughts, like at the underground, like the subway, and you're not the only one. Like there are other cultures and countries where that's a choice for people.
Yeah.
But
There's
do you avoid some things like that?
there's some trauma responses that I would say kick in. For me, it's
What responses?
like trauma responses.
Oh, okay, trauma.
Because it's some
Right.
of the stuff is like you kind of like, your mind sets back when certain things come up. It's really a case of like, for me, one of the biggest ones is I tend to be quite sort of hiding from conflict sometimes.
Yeah.
I tend to run away from it because I don't.
relate.
I've been looking for
relate.
the
I can resonate with that one actually.
Conflict
Yeah.
is crazy. Even just growing up, there were so many things, whether it was alcoholism, gambling, pornography, you name it, it was all running amok in my family. And it's like, I know that I definitely have addictive genes in my body, genetics. That's what I meant by genes. And if I potentially get into that stuff, that I probably would get as hooked as just about every other generation in my family. So yeah, separating from myself is from some of those things.
From some of the trauma.
That's
Right,
been
right.
really, really good. But yeah, there's definitely some marks that I guess it's a process of healing. It's a process of sanctification. It's a process and God is still healing your heart from so many things. Because even one of the things that I would say is really hard is, seeing family fights, seeing friends betray you, all these things consistently is like romantic relationships for me in my mind has been something of like, well, I can't do that. Look what the fruit has been for it. Like what I see my entire life. It's like, no, why
But
would you?
God.
But God,
Those
your
two
story's not
words,
over yet.
That's
There we go.
right. That's right.
Literally,
Oh,
it's
well,
it's
love that.
it's a
Yeah.
case of like, no matter how far you've gone, no matter how deep you
Right.
think you are, there's always hope. The Bible says that for we have this hope that's an anchor for our soul. That's a good
I have
one.
that on my wall. I
Nice.
love that one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Are there other things that you intentionally choose to not like do or go or
I think I've gone through like a cycles of after like going through all of that stuff. I've been like, oh, let me try to go back to this old habits I had, like scrolling on social media for hours before having time with God, and it made me really anxious before having time with God. So one of the habits I have is before I check Instagram or anything, even on my phone, I physically I set it by 9 o'clock. No, like loud notifications. You know, be there.
you have boundaries
Yeah,
that
I
right?
found myself being very sensitive to sound, even when it's not early morning, just sound in general. And then a similar to Kyle, like anyone who knows me knows how much I dislike confrontation heavily, and I put it in brackets unless I need to address something. I come from somebody who struggles. I was actually two years ago, so I was diagnosed with anxiety. They call it a generalized anxiety, and in general, it's like being anxious about different things. Different things can trigger it, and a lot of time is like being hesitant to do anything in case you make a mistake. And for me, one of the many things I just do naturally. Even my mom would even tell me as a kid, you were the quietest child compared to my siblings, and it's still to this day I've owned that quietness and be like, no, I'll be careful not to go back into the cycle of the thoughts. But when a habit I had is to address them. Like when I notice like a consistent thought coming up, I go to constant, but I want this.
Not
It
just
is-
push it down.
And just push it down
Yeah.
and just
Because that always pops back up.
yeah.
It's like the beach ball being
Yeah.
pushed into the right.
Yeah,
Right.
and like
right.
a lot of times I'm like, if I'm out and about and I don't have quote unquote time to pray, I have
Right.
headphones on or I'm going to work, I would like stop and physically shake my head and say, nope. That's another habit. It's just like physically saying, nope, I'm not gonna entertain this thought. It's my way of like taking a thought captive. I'm like
Right.
shaking them off, like, nope.
I
not
like
happening,
that.
not
I like that. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those different things have helped me, as well as during all that stuff I was going through. It was actually one of my sisters who helped me to do therapy and stuff like that, online and in person.
Good. Good.
My old history teacher actually helped me to organize on school grounds counseling during the anxiety wrestling when I was 17. So there have been many different people who they've seen me being unusually quiet. So I'm normally quiet, but there's a next little bit just like silence almost. I'm just to myself, and then they speak to me, and then so different things have been like just being myself,
Right.
being scared to be myself. Like I can be loud, I can be energetic when I need to be, but a lot of time I'm just like my lifestyle now is a lifestyle of gratitude.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
constantly. That's why that song hits a lot, and the Billion Little
Right.
Miracles, because when I'm speaking to a youth, there's like a practical step I answer everybody to do is I say, check your pulse. And you feel that, keep going. That's one, like a gratitude changes everything.
Yeah.
Like it really does. Even when you're going through stuff, I'm like, a perspective, you stuff this. There's
Right.
many people, you have food, you have drinks, clothing, and you still have a functioning brain and heart that can still do what it needs to do. So gratitude amongst everything else has been humongous in my life to where I am now, and
Wow.
along that
It changes our perspective. Like, it really does when all of a sudden we're like, okay, grumble, 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 or
yeah,
poor me. And then it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'm going to change and look for stuff. Growing up, a lot of times my family called things looking for God sightings in our days. And that has been huge for me, going through different things in life. And even, and I've walked through other people with different things and been like, okay, where do we see God today? Might be as simple as someone reaching out to us, like people seeing you be extra quiet, or whatever the case may be, is someone giving you a coffee or just
hospitality
something,
is
a verse you
a big,
read, a sunset,
yeah.
And one thing I want to ask Kyle, maybe you can speak to this, is community. It seems like community, like you guys have, if you have people who are going through similar things, you don't want to just up and leave them, like you want them seen and heard, but community who are encouraging. Can you speak to that?
Well, that's just it. And you touched on it towards the end there. It's like, sure, everybody has friends and sure, everybody has family members and everything, but it's really surrounding yourself with people that are willing to pour into you, that are encouraging, that are loving, that are like, I mean, in my family, and I love my family today. We're great and everything's amazing. We sure there's stuff that comes up in conflict or whatever.
It's family.
Like family, right?
It's family.
But it's a case of like, me and my family, we never ever said I love you. To this day, we still don't do that. It's straight up super awkward to me. But then I'm surrounded by these friends who say it to me consistently. And it just like strikes a nerve. And sometimes I struggle to say it back. Like there was one friend who literally refused. She would call me and then, we'd end the call and she's like, love you, bye. And I was like, no, you're not going to say bye. And, like, you're not going to put down the phone until you also say love you, bye.
And that's great.
And I would put down the phone and then she would phone back. She's like, no, like, do you understand? Like we're in this for life. Like we're friends forever. Like, and sure, maybe we will be friends forever. Maybe we won't. But it's just that intentional, like people investing in you, people like showing you like, hey, there is love, there is hope, there is people who actually care about you.
Yeah.
Whether you realize it or not. And when you have like suicidal thoughts and stuff, everybody's like, oh, that person just wants attention. That's why they want suicide. And I'm like, no, they don't want attention. They need help. That's the they need help.
Right. Is there any final thing you would say to someone who might be listening? Like there's lots of intentional choices of what to listen to, watch, community, journaling, just lots of different takeaways, stopping thoughts, anything in particular you would say?
Um,
And go ahead, speak to that person even.
like I had to look directly at the individual or individuals are watching this, could be a group even listening to this. Take it a day by day, because our generation is like go, do this, plan for next month, do that. Which planning is great, but you have to take it day by day, because each day will eventually lead to a month, a year, etc.
Yeah.
You have to address those stuff, the heavy stuff, regularly. Because if you let it fester, it would poison your mindset and your thoughts, or you would notice stuff about you that's like you're more antsy, more sharp in your tone or something, and you haven't addressed it. And for all of us here, and especially for myself, it's relying on Jesus, because we don't just say as a cliche thing, like without Jesus, I can almost guarantee I would not be here. And to see just, again, mental health is, and I think sadly it will always be a heavy topic because it's so ingrained in our brains. But the fact that you are still showing up to school, or showing up to work, or showing up to your local coffee shop, that's great, because you're still giving it another go, still giving life another chance, and God can still meet you there. You continue to show up, you continue to meet your friends online, and you game or something, like you're showing up and people are caring. So take it a day by day is one of probably the most effective advice I can give. Yeah.
Honestly, what I would say, and probably what I would tell myself back in, when I was caught up in that, is it's okay not to know. It's okay not to know what the next step is. It's okay not to know where you're gonna go or where you're gonna end up or who you're gonna end up with. And it's like, Joseph was saying, is just take that next step, keep showing up, keep learning, because we're all learning, and do it unapologetically. Be proud of yourself that you made that small step. Be proud of yourself that you have these small little victories that people might not see or appreciate you for, but you can appreciate it. And we appreciate that you're appreciating it.
Yeah.
And just know that you are loved and you are cared for. And there is people out there that are just waiting to meet you, to get to know you, to be friends with you and tell you that they love you, as hard as it may be to hear sometimes. And that you can be unapologetically yourself because God made you in a unique way. He gave you certain gifts and talents that nobody else has and a certain voice that the world has yet to hear. But truly, 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 you are loved, you are cared for, and there is so much more to come.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. I thank both of you for being here. And friend, if you want to know this Jesus who Joseph and Kyle have talked about, he's right there. You talk to God. Some people say pray. It's just talking to him about anything and everything. And God we can either choose to live our way or God's way. And that sin is what gets in the way there. And we can get rid of that sin by saying, God, I'm sorry for my way choices that have hurt you. And I choose to live your way. Will you please forgive me? And literally, we can choose to walk with Jesus, walk with God. And I'm so thankful you guys made that choice because it's given a lot of hope to you. And I hope it's given a lot of hope to you today, friends. So hang in there one day at a time. All these different things I hope will encourage you. And I'm going to end with these words. When my heart is overwhelmed, this is in Psalms. When my heart is overwhelmed, that happens a lot. We can go on social media, read some news headlines. Overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, and that is only God. And I pray that for you today, my friend. Jesus, I just pray for whoever might be watching right now. Just touch their heart and life. And I pray they would hang on and choose to hang on to you and give them hope that life is worth living. And we thank you so much for this time together. Amen. Thanks for being here, guys.
So much.
Join us next time on Thrive in the Mess.